The Buffalo Bills have dominated the AFC East for the last few years, and based where we sit right now, it looks like it will be another year for Bills supremacy. Guys, we're heading into 2025. Is this the Bills' division to lose?
Yes.
Jay, I already know where Jay's at.
This is the Bills' season to lose. These guys are my Super Bowl favorites. I think they win it all. They don't have a weakness on their football team. They upgraded necessary areas of their team. They strengthened their defensive line. Their defensive line depth is sick right now. They have good linebackers. Milano can run. Their corners are good. Their defense will be better. If they can get stops, which they will this year with one of the best defensive minds in football running their defense offensively, man, they are awesome. I know everybody wanted to draft a big X receiver, something like that, but they still have good enough receivers. They have 3 really good backs. They have the best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in football, and and a very good offensive line. And they just drafted another tight end that can go out there and play. They can go big tight end. They can go 3 tight end sets. They can go 2 tight end sets. These guys are awesome. They got. I think they're the team to beat.
Now, when we talk about chemistry, AQ, and we talk about a team, the Bills didn't make any splash signings this year. They signed Joey Bosa. That's a little bit of a splash on the back end of the career. Ty Johnson, Joshua Palmer. But they extended a lot of guys on the team. How much do you play into just keeping the chemistry of a team that's had success and keeping that culture?
I'm a big fan of that. You look at the good teams over the history of this league, and that's what they do. They build from within, and they keep the guys that are locker room guys, and Josh Allen obviously being the star of that group. You start with him, and then you start building off of that. You know exactly what you have with him. I've learned my lesson betting against him. Obviously, last year, I've learned my lesson. Their offensive, an absolute superstar. So it doesn't matter who Josh Allen has, I've learned. As long as he has a good offensive line and he has somebody to throw to, they're going to be damn good.
We got to remember they were 13-4, right? And they lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship on that controversial 4th-and-1 call and the drop by Kincaid late in the game. So these guys are knocking on the door again last year, and I think this year they kick it in and make a move because I think, they gave up 32 points to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. I think they can slow teams down. Now, the depth of their defensive line now, that's Espinosa, Bosa, Ed Oliver, Quentin Jones. They got TJ Sanders. They got Ogunjobi. They got Greg Rousseau, Landon Jackson now. They got Deontay Walker they drafted from Kentucky. These are a lot of guys, big bodies. They can move around and play different styles. And having a good rotational defensive line is critical for teams to be successful, and I think they have that now.
How good is Joey Bosa going to be? He still got it?
Can he stay healthy, I guess is the question, right?
That's the key, staying healthy with him. It's like he's still super talented. He's still a 15-sack-a-year guy, but in order to get 15 sacks, you got to play in 17 games, right? And his MO the last couple of years has been playing in 8 games. So, and even whenever he does play in whatever it is, 12, 13, 14, whatever it may be, he's not 100%. And 70% Joey Bosa is just a guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, last year, I just looked the stats up real quick. 14 games played, 20 total tackles, 5 sacks. So he did get 14 games, but the sack numbers weren't there, which is a little odd. But if you look at over the course of his career, I mean, the guy's closing in on having, 75 sacks. He'll have 100 sacks over his career. If they can get Joey Bosa playing at a high level, playing like 3rd overall pick Joey Bosa, that really does scratch the itch for him because Von Miller never came in and was that dynamic closer either. So they really haven't had that guy in a while because Espinosa, I played against him. He's a good player, not great. You're kind of looking across that depth chart. And the D-line, to me, yes, they have depth. They need Gregory Rousseau to step up. I just think that there still is some question marks I need answered on the defensive line. What about receivers? Is there a weakness on this offense, Colt?
I think the addition of Josh Palmer is going to help. I mean, he made some plays in LA for a while. But listen, this team is built running the football. They re-signed Ty Johnson. They got James Cook. They went and got the tight end that Jay loves, Jackson Hawes, so that they can play a lot of 13 personnel sets with Kincaid and Knox. Those guys have played a lot of football together. Knox especially. They can get crafty and creative in the passing game from those bigger tight end personnel looks, but they're running the football. I think they're fine. They got a great slot receiver. He never drops the ball. Another one of Jay's favorites, huh?
Jay loves him.
I love Khalil Shakir. He's on my fantasy team every year.
Shakir. I mean, that guy's
They had
phenomenal.
Elijah Moore as well. I mean, these guys are good enough at receiver. We're not going to put them as a top 5 receiving group in the NFL. These guys are adequate enough to help Josh Allen. And then you forget about the running backs that they have, the ability to run the football. They bring in Alec Anderson sometimes for the big tight end. Now they don't necessarily have to do that, but Josh Allen's ability to run sets them apart, in my opinion.
Look at Jay just trying to take offensive linemen off the field, man. Just we get a little moment of glory, and Gruden wants to just snatch it away from us.
We can go 2 tight ends and another big tackle in there. 2 tight, and a big eligible tackle and 1 receiver. That's hell on defense. Not many defenses in the NFL anymore have big personnel to match big personnel. Most teams are playing sub defenses 90% of the game. Now all of a sudden Buffalo comes in here with 2 big tight ends, a big tackle playing tight end, and they pound you into submission. It's hard to defend.
Yeah, and Josh Allen can still run the football too. You got to defend his legs just as much as you do his arms. And with Josh Allen, pulling the trigger, like they just need a defense that's going to stop people. They're going to score points. They can control the clock. They can do a lot of things on offense. They don't have a superstar X receiver, but they got enough pieces to be really, really good on offense, with Josh Allen. And they picked Maxwell Hairston, who hopefully turns out to be, with the first round pick at 30, hopefully can be a shutdown corner, but their front is good. Their secondary got better. They would be top 3 or 4 teams for me to win a Super Bowl next year easily.
I am a little surprised they did not upgrade the secondary safety-wise. Rapp and Hamlin, I think, are decent players. I think they need another big-time safety there. With all the things that Sean McDermott likes to do defensively, the quarters and the blitzes, I think they need a better safety that can cover a little bit more, a little bigger safety that can run.
Isn't Justin Simmons sitting out there right now?
Yeah, that'd be a good one to get, I guess. But he's more of a free safety cover guy,
Yeah, I was going to say, I know he was he doesn't come from that system, so I don't know how well he would fit in there. One more question I have for you. James Cook has been outspoken about wanting $20 million a year. If you're the Buffalo Bills, how do you feel about cutting that check to James Cook right now? Q.
Tough. It's tough. Obviously Saquon has proven that the running back resurgence of value is on the rise, but $20 million for a running back is tough because you can get a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round and get pretty damn good value when you have that good of an offensive line. You got the tight ends. You got the ability to run the football the way that they're able to run the football and just lean on guys and wear teams down the way that they've proven to be able to do so with the group that they have up front. And so I think it's tough to write that check. If it comes down to $20 million or let him walk, you let him walk.
Yeah, and they have 2 backs. Ray Davis and Ty Johnson are 2 pretty good backs. And there's always going to be a couple cap casualties or good backs that are going to be on the street here in about a month or 2 that they can get as well. Not to say James Cook doesn't deserve it. He's a great player, but I think they have other positions they have to pay and make sure they keep on their roster. They've done a good job of keeping their core nucleus together. And for them to do that, it's hard to do that paying a back $20 million.
That's always the interesting thing whenever you pay a quarterback $275 million, right? Now you have to start getting into that battle of, okay, what are the 5 positions that we value that we're going to pay? And then the rest of it, we have to kind of just fit pieces in with different price tags. And that's the interesting thing. That's why the Niners had their window with Purdy on the low level thing. Jalen Hurts, whenever he had his low contract, right? But whenever you start paying guys what you're paying Josh Allen and Mahomes and all these guys are getting these monster contracts, 5 guys are making the money and the rest of it's just fitting value and pieces in.
Well, let's talk about that guy for a second, Josh Allen. As we move through these previews, we're going to be building out some season-long pick'ems here on Underdog. Underdog is the best place to play pick'em, and it's never too early to start with the NFL season-long picks. Head over to the Underdog app or online and play along with us. The first entry I want to talk to you guys about, Josh Allen, higher or lower, 27.5 touchdown passes. Jay, I know this is your team, so maybe we'll let you go last, Jay, to wrap it up. Colt, 27.5 touchdown passes for Josh Allen.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the higher. I am. I know that we just talked about how they're built in the run game and all, but he's got big targets. They do a lot of play action, the RPOs. They're going to play deep into the playoffs. I think it's a pretty safe bet that Josh Allen goes higher.
Well, here's my thing. He had 28 last year as the MVP of the NFL. So it makes me a little nervous. Like they might run away with this division. He might sit a game or two. So all of a sudden, like I'm just saying 27.5. Is there anyone that wants to play the other side of this one?
Yeah, me.
Me too.
Wow. Okay. All right. AQ, go first. Jay, you still shut up. You're going to go last.
I'll take the lower because, again, what we just talked about. Again, he threw 28 and he had an MVP season last year. I don't think they have a ton of, deep threat receivers that are going to go out there and get you 15 touchdown receptions. So I think it's going to be 26, 25, 24 touchdowns, somewhere in that range. Low interceptions, hammer the run game, play good defense, and just be a damn good football team. But he's not going to light up the league and throw for 50 touchdowns and, have a season like Brady had whenever he threw for 50 or Aaron Rodgers or Peyton or any of those things. It's going to be, we are going to lean on this run game and only hit you whenever we need to.
Jay, bring us home.
Yeah, I think you're right. You hit it on the head, Justin. He's going to have to play like 15, 16 games. He's going to be sitting out the last game. This division has 0% chance to beat the Bills. So week 17, he's out. So you got 16 games, the strong running game that they have, the ball control type they play. I would play the lower just on the safe side, but it would not shock me if he throws a couple screens to Shakir for touchdown, then a back shoulder fade to Coleman for touchdown. And here comes Kincaid for touchdown. I could get screwed on that one, but if I was a betting man, I would play the lower underdog, people.
Yeah, right. But I'll also say, think about this offseason, and Joe Brady's talking to Josh Allen, talking about his health, talking about how much he's run. They're breaking down how many hits you took last year. They're talking about, not putting your body in harm's way and only taking chances when you're supposed to. This could be a situation where it's like he's looking, when you get in the red zone, instead of running, zone read, they might be throwing some play actions off of that and finding, easier completions for him that turn into ultimately more touchdowns. I'm still sticking with the higher.
I'm 100% with you, Colt. I feel like the goal for them is to win a Super Bowl, and you only want to use Josh Allen's legs when you get to the playoffs, the must-have it games. I know it's not easy. It's not as easy said than done as that. But if you're trying to win a Super Bowl, I want him healthy when we come to the playoffs. I'm with you. The read options, get that ball out quick and let Coleman go make a play or one of your tight ends. So I'm going over on this one.
Josh is still going to run the ball, boys. He's still going to run the ball. I promise you that. This guy doesn't know any better. He knows nothing else but to run the ball when he gets in trouble. He's going to run the ball. He's going to run it.
But look at the evolution.
As a play caller, you're going to use him in the running game. Quarterback power,
Agreed.
Quarterback G-force, whatever they call it. Yeah. He's going to run it.
I know, but look at the evolution of his career, right? Lots of turnovers early on, lots of wow plays. And then you see over the last 2 years, his touchdown to interception ratio getting farther and farther apart. Right. I just think that a lot of their focus on Josh Allen this offseason is going to be looking at how many times did you risk and put your body at injury? How many hits did you take that you shouldn't have taken? How many checkdowns could you have thrown that would have turned into first downs and maybe touchdowns that we passed up because we wanted to be Superman and make a big play? Right. He's getting better and better and better the older he gets. And I just think he may be, leaning on this run game over and over and over and finding easier completions and that could ultimately result in more touchdowns. I'm still taking the higher.
All right. Well, only time will tell on that one. Let's move on from the Buffalo Bills, hop into the Miami Dolphins. They finished second in the AFC East last year. They were 8-9. Tua Tagovailoa had a little bit of a crazy year with the health scare. They were in the playoffs 2 years ago, and then they just missed out last year. Are they still knocking on the door, or are they on the decline? What's going on with the Miami Dolphins?
They're soft. They've always been soft. They got to get more physical at the point of attack. They started out 2-6. They made a late season run. They had to win the last game of the year against the New York Jets to get in, and Denver had to lose to Kansas City. And what happened? Late in the year, they got thumped by the New York Jets, who had nothing to play for. So they got to toughen up, and they're trying to do that based on their draft by drafting Kenneth Grant. They drafted the guard from Arizona, Savanania. How do you pronounce it, Justin?
I leave that one to AQ, actually. AQ's out there in Arizona. He's our local boots on the ground.
Savania, yeah. So they got him. The big question is, can left tackle Patrick Paul hold up? Are they going to be able to play good? Patrick Paul, a new left tackle for Miami? He's a second-year guy.
Great. I'm sure he's going to be great.
Well, that's where they're struggling. Their offensive line is not very good, is what I'm trying to tell you. And then their defensive line is no physical mess. That's why they're going to struggle. That's why they're going to get pummeled by the Bills again. They have not upgraded the positions they need to upgrade, and they throw 25% of their passes they throw are behind the line of scrimmage. It's painful to me. I throw another bubble screen to Achane, another screen to Waddle, another screen over here. They got to be able to protect Tua so he can throw the ball down the field and utilize what they're really good at and their ability to run. Waddle and Hill, get them down the field and run. And then Jonnu Smith and they get the other guys involved. But right now, they can't run the ball between the tackles. They're not physical enough. They don't have time to let these guys run down the field, so they throw these bubble screens, and eventually they just get beat.
All right, Colt, let me say this. If you're sitting there at quarterback and you're looking out and you have Devon Achane, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Jonnu Smith, you have these weapons on offense. Or if you're Josh Allen and you're up in Buffalo looking at those talent, wouldn't you rather have the Dolphins' skilled position players?
Yeah, I would. I think these guys are fast. They got more speed than any other team in the league across the board at the skill position. But I'm with Jay in the sense that like they didn't win games that they were supposed to win, and internally, Miami Dolphins got problems. They just got problems. Like I'm scared to death about Tua. Like he's one hit away from it being over, right? And you're dealing with the Tyreek Hill situation and wanting to get drama. But at the end of the day, like it's a quarterback driven league, and has Tua played well? Yeah, of course. But like I'm just not sold on it. Like I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. They went and got Zach Wilson. They drafted Quinn Ewers. I think both those players are very similar. But it hinges on Tua's health. Can he stay healthy, and can he play at a high level for 17 games? Like that remains to be seen. For me, that's the biggest kind of overarching theme of the Miami Dolphins. And I wouldn't say I'm just like real hyped up about it.
All right. Makes it very interesting. Here's a fun pick-em for the Dolphins this year. You mentioned Tua. Tua doesn't use his legs much. He doesn't run. The reason he's not running is because he's had those injuries, and he's not really a scrambling quarterback anyways. So do you think he will have higher or lower 0.5 rushing touchdowns next season? He's not had one in the last 3 seasons. So this would be a miracle if he gets one.
Yeah.
I'll say lower.
No rushing touchdowns. Okay.
There's no quarterback sneak attempts ever with Tua because he's not going to lead with his head. 0. So you got 0 chance for a tush push with Tua. If he scrambles, it's got to be the only chance he has for me is if it's a 3rd and goal to 5. They're an empty. They spread it out. Defense drops 8. He finds a little hole and dives it in for the touchdown, which could happen. But that's a long shot.
Long shot. I'm saying
they don't
0.
do any zone reads. They don't do any quarterback design runs. Obviously, I said no quarterback sneak. So it's got to be a scramble on 4th and 5 from the 5. That's the only chance he's got. Could happen.
Just like you mentioned with Josh Allen, he hasn't learned his lesson. He's going to get one this year. It'll be 3 years since he's had the last one.
Not to mention he's injury prone, so he's probably going to miss some time again. The history shows that he's going to miss time again. So you're looking at 7 or 8 games. And they're telling him, get down. Any chance of a collision, get down. There's no chance he scores. There's a chance. But
do you think they'll save us, though, if he has a season-ending injury or something like that? Is there like a save coming? We'll have to ask Underdog that. No. All right, that's Miami Dolphins. So with Bills
hold on. One of the things about Miami that Jay can probably speak on this too is just like it's one of the most. I don't want to use the word gimmicky because they probably have a reason behind the things that they're doing, but it's different than. It's completely opposite of how the Buffalo Bills design their offense, right? It's bubbles, it's fly sweeps, it's trying to confuse the defense and misdirections all the time. Like for me,
it's all eye candy.
For me, like you start fast in the season and you got all these cool plays and designs, and you got big explosive plays off of a simple RPO. But then as the season gets going, it kind of everything catches up, right? And the teams who have base personnel, 11, 12, 13, like reasons why we do different things that sustains. I just don't think this offense sustains. And if Tua gets hurt and then somebody else trying to come in and create it doesn't feel like there's like a true backbone to all the things that are going on. I know there is, but just as an observer of this, sometimes it's hard for me to get a feel for like, can they really go, like example of last year going down and losing to the Jets late in the season? It's like you're not going to get gimmicky when it's freezing cold and windy outside, right? Like
exactly.
It's hard for me to just buy this team.
Okay. So with that all being said, Cole, I'll let you lead it off because you just gave us that breakdown. They were second in the division last year. They were 8-9. Where do you see them finishing this year? Do you think they're second, third, fourth? Because we all think Bills are one.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to finish last. I think they're probably second or third in the division. I think they beat the Jets. I think they'll struggle with the Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to be a lot better. And I like this team. Like, I like the guys on the team. I like McDaniel. I just, it's hard for me when you look at this division and, they're going to lose probably Armstead. They may lose Jalen Ramsey. Not that that's like a huge deal, but there's just a lot on the surface here that I'm not a buyer of the Dolphins.
And Teron Armstead was one of the leaders of that team. I mean, not many people talk about left tackles, but that was a big loss, him retiring as their left tackle. Just from even a locker room presence. Calais Campbell leaving and walking out that door. Who is the leader of this team? Is Tyreek Hill your veteran presence, your leader on the team? That might be a little bit of a scary thought. All right, Jay, where do they finish in the division?
Last.
Boom.
They'll be them and the Jets will probably both be about 4-13, right around there.
Okay. AQ?
Yeah. It's not a very good division. I think it's the weakest division in AFC, personally.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with what everybody's saying here. I have them at third because I think the Jets stink and they're going to continue to be a dumpster fire, in my opinion. But I think New England got a lot better. Not only because of the players that they picked up in free agency and the draft, but the culture improved tremendously by bringing in Vrabel, who's been there, who knows what that culture should be, and obviously created that culture down in Tennessee. So I think New England probably goes 2, and I think Miami goes 3. But just like Colt said, I kind of agree, and especially if Tua goes down, so much of that offense is predicated on the ball handling that Tua can provide. It's all predicated on all the shifts and the motions and the eye candy and all of the different things. And so if you lose him at any point, that season goes down the drain because the key addition, Zach Wilson, good luck. You're going to watch him come in and look exactly like Huntley did last year. So, it's so much of that depends on Tua, and he's got to play like he's walking on eggshells. And so from that standpoint, they're not physical up front. They got some studs at receiver, but can they block long enough to get the ball down the field? They lost key pieces on the defense. They tried to get it in the draft, but you're going to tell me some rookie is going to be a better player inside than Calais Campbell could have provided for you from a leadership standpoint and a playing standpoint? It's not going to happen. And so they got worse, period.
And the culture got worse. I don't think Mike McDaniels is much of a screamer and yeller, and he's going to get in guys' face. You lose Raheem Mostert, who is probably the most veteran player on your offense, him and Teron Armstead. You lose Calais Campbell. We started this off talking about culture matters, and I think Miami's culture is taking a turn for the worse. I had them finishing 4th in the division next year. The health concerns are there, but I also think they lost a lot of leadership, and they got to go find it quickly. Well, Underdog's newest NBA playoff promo, The Extender, you can play your way to increasingly bigger boosts each round of the playoffs. Start a playoff series by using your Game 1 boost, and then continue boosting each subsequent game to unlock the next one. The longer the series, the bigger the boost. If those series go to 7, you can secure a huge win if your pick hits. Underdog is the best place to make picks during playoff basketball. So what are you waiting for? Head to Underdog app and use the promo code POCKET during the NBA playoffs. We mentioned the New England Patriots. There's a new regime. There is a new sheriff in town, and Mike Vrabel. It feels like New England is a little bit back. Are we buying into the hype, or is this a real deal thing? Will the Patriots take that next step forward, Jay Gruden?
I think they did get a lot better. They did a good job in the offseason of addressing a lot of needs, free agents. The key is, obviously, have they done enough to help Drake May? That's the biggest issue. They added a great running back in the draft in Travion Henderson. That's going to help out a lot. Stevenson and Henderson, the 1-2 punch, the running game, getting Henderson the ball in space on screens and whatever it might be, out and empty, all the good things that he can do, and he's a great pass protector. That's a big issue. Is Stephon Diggs going to be healthy enough and the same type of player he's been? I have my doubts on Stephon Diggs. When you're coming off a torn ACL as a 30-year-old receiver, that's tough. Do they have enough speed on the outside to allow Stephon Diggs to man the inside? I don't know. They have Hunter Henry still. He's a good tight end. The biggest thing I think they have to do is really make sure they can run the ball. And we all know they drafted Will Campbell first. I think that's going to be a great addition for them. The offensive line has gotten better, but the key is to get a lot of balance offensively. They can't lean on Drake May too much this year. It's got to be a run-first offense and then allow Drake May to get some scrambles and some completions elsewhere. But it's all dependent on Drake May, in my opinion. I think defensively they got a lot better through free agency. Carlton Davis and obviously Harold Landry and a lot of other guys they got in free agency. I think they're going to be a lot better and more competitive. So I put actually New England at number 2 in this division.
Well, don't jump right into where you're ranking them. Colt.
Sorry.
We talk about Drake May. What does he have to do in year 2 to continue on this trajectory that he's on of being an elite ascending young quarterback?
Listen, of all the young quarterbacks, I know Jaden Daniels was the MVP and is a superstar. Drake May's right there. Like, I know his stats weren't exactly what everybody wanted to see, but when he stepped in and played last year, he did some things in his game that you can just watch, especially as a former quarterback, like what he was in charge of, what his responsibility was, how he operated. I think Drake May is going to be good for a long time. He's super young, and I think getting that experience last year is very valuable. Now, I think with the addition of Mike Vrabel, sort of the what he brings from coaching and coaching staff standpoint to the discipline to the makeup, the DNA of a football team. Like, when I think of Mike Vrabel, you feel that, right? You know that they're going to be really, really good in good hands, in my opinion, and that's because of Drake May. Their first 4 picks of the NFL draft, they went offense. They got a tackle, they got a running back, they got a wide receiver. Don't sleep on him. This dude, Kyle Williams from Washington State, he is good. He is a great route runner, catches the ball away from his body all the time with his hands. He's going to make some plays for him this year. I'm with Jay. I think if Diggs can find a version of him from 2 or 3 years ago, like, that's going to be super beneficial for the Patriots. And so I think they'll have the ability to compete with Buffalo. They won't win the division, but they're going to upset some teams this year. I have them above 500 for this year. I really do. And I think it's because of Drake May. I think he's going to make a big jump. And I say that because watching him last year, like, he can move. He's more athletic than what anybody thinks. And he's very accurate with the football, and his arm is live. Like, it's raw, but it's live. He can put the ball anywhere he wants. And if he can dial that in, they're going to be a tough football team.
So you think they're going to improve by 5 wins ish? They were 4-13 last year, a 9-8 ish. That's the season you see. All right, AQ. We keep talking about culture. What's something that a coach can do that Vrabel can come in to do to change the culture? Like, we keep talking about these players can help impact it, but really it starts with the head man, the head coach. What's something that Vrabel can do to change culture with the Patriots?
I think the biggest thing whenever you talk culture is accountability, period. And I think Vrabel, that is one thing that you always hear when you mention Mike Vrabel's name, is he holds guys accountable. He comes in, he coaches you hard, and he's always hammering details. You hear all the stories of Will Compton and Taylor Lewan on their show talking about how he was constantly calling guys out in meetings. I mean, it didn't matter what it was. It was, I know when I played for Andy Reid would sit there and you would always think he was watching. And then he would just kind of see somebody with their head turned behind and be like, hey, what's the play? What's the call? And, just little things like that. And the more and more you do that, now you can call it a scare tactic, you can call it whatever, but what it does is it makes everybody stay here. It makes everybody have their blinders on. And even if you're a backup, now you're paying attention. It's little things. It's little things that matter. It's all the little details. And I think whenever you get a guy like Vrabel that can come in and do that, and then you draft well, and then you have a good free agency, and you put all those pieces together, now all of a sudden you got a team. Now, I'm not saying they're talented enough, like we've all talked about, to compete with the Buffalo Bills, but they're talented enough to steal some games and go 500, or maybe even sneak into a playoff some way, shape, or form. Because you can steal 3 or 4 games based on culture, based on details, based on accountability, based on all these different things. If you come in and you get the buy-in. The biggest key to buy-in, though, Colt, right? What do we talk about? You got to win games. Because like with Bill Belichick, people bought in because they were going to the Super Bowl every other year, right? But then whenever they start going 4 and whatever, and they lose some guys, and Tom Brady all of a sudden leaves, now all of a sudden it's like, hold on a sec, you're like, we're doing this and we're losing. This is terrible.
Out of here.
You got to call good plays. You got to call good plays. You got to execute.
100%.
Like that's a real quick way to go establish your culture. But from the foundation of sort of this toughness, this sort of discipline, sort of accountability standpoint that Vrabel's going to bring in there, great. All that's great. You're going to get guys on board and bought in. But you got to go win games. You got to go call good plays. You got to execute. You got to make the plays. I think bringing Josh McDaniels back is a big deal. He's had a track record of a ton of success across the league as a coordinator, but specifically at New England, right? It's a comfortable place for him. I think he and Drake are working all hours of the day right now, figuring out how are we going to be successful on offense. I think it's a good match. I think it's healthy, and I think they win 5 or 6 more games than what they won last year.
All right, hold on. You mentioned Okay, all right, go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
I'm just looking at their depth chart, and they have 11 new starters from last year. 6 on defense, 4 or 5 on offense. So it's going to depend how they gel together. But good thing is they're going to have a whole new system. Mike McDaniel on offense and Mike Vrabel on defense, or Mike, what did I say his name was? Who's the offense coordinator?
McDaniels.
Mike,
Josh
yes, I said
McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels. I knew it didn't sound right. Josh McDaniels on offense, how he can get that offensive gel. And then obviously defensively, Vrabel does a good job with that defense. But having that many new players, a new staff, getting them gel together so they can create a nice C word, as you guys mentioned all the time, the culture word that I can't stand. I think it's the dreaded C word. It depends on the players you bring in. They brought in some good players that work hard. They'll play hard. They'll be coached well. And I think that'll be a difference in 9 wins and 4 wins from they had last year.
All right, Drake May. His higher and lower for passing yards is 3,249.5 passing yards. Last year in 13 games, he had 2,276. We mentioned McDaniels. We mentioned Drake May going into year 2. He's going to get a full season. Higher or lower on Drake May's passing yards this year, Colt?
Oh, lots of, the Josh McDaniels scheme. It's spread them out. It's quick throws. It's easy completions. It's attacking matchups. I think if Josh McDaniels, it's the Tom Brady method of we're not going to get hit. We're just going to get the ball out, let guys make plays. Now he doesn't have Julian Edelman and Danny Amendola and Wes Welker out there, but I do think he's got enough pieces around him and a good solid running back room behind him to stay ahead of the chains. I think it's feasible for him to if he stays healthy to go higher. I do.
That's a really convincing answer. Well, you make me run to the Underdog app and play higher.
All right, Jay. Well, you convince us, Jay. Sell us, Jay.
I'm going lower, man. He's in his second year. All right, we're not going to put too much pressure on him. Josh McDaniels is going to run the ball. When Josh was at New England and had the really good offenses with Tom Brady, even with Tom Brady, they ran the ball pretty effectively. So they're going to run the ball. They have to. They don't want to be stuck in and having this guy throw 45 times a game. They have no chance. So they have to keep him within 20 to 25 completions a game, a strong running game, play good defense, win some games early, like 17-13, 20-17. Let your defense come eat. I mean, you went out and paid a lot of defensive players now. I mean, right? So they got to have to play. So I got to go lower.
You're telling me that Drake May's not going to throw for 190 yards a game?
No, I mean, he will a couple games. Yeah, he'll go higher. But
if he plays 17 games, it's 190 yards a game.
Yeah, no.
He's going to go above.
Jay is no mathematician.
He's going to average 215 yards a game passing with a good running game. I think that's
the way.
Yeah,
exactly. NFL passing yards were down last year across the league. Even Patrick Mahomes. I mean, these guys are trying to run the ball now and protect these young quarterbacks. So yeah, I think it's going to be lower. When you run the ball, what happens to the clock, Colt?
It eats it up.
Tick, 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 tick. And he's going to be low.
Hey, don't sell Drake May short. Second year player,
really
not going to throw the ball.
Kyle Williams, a big play receiver.
Yeah, right. He played 8 games last year. Cut it loose, baby.
I mean, I'm just saying they got Kyle Williams, who's a deep play threat, I guess. Diggs is a move the chains type guy, right? Bourne is. I mean, who are they going to throw the ball too deep and get the big chunk
throw
yards?
For that many yards, though, Jay. He's going to
get the chunk yards.
Screens.
That's 11. That's 16. That's 28. Now you're at 48. Now you're at halftime. Then you get a nice little 20-yard gain across the middle of Hunter Henry. Now you're at 68. Then you throw a screen to Diggs. Now you're 78. And the game's over and you're at 98. You're like 14 for 25 for 98 yards.
Jay, you're going sub 2,000. So, Jay, you're going sub 2,000. You're going to go sub lower 2,000 too, as well, is what you're saying.
Milton Williams has 2 sacks. Harold Landry gets a sack. They play good defense.
Okay.
Christian Gonzalez. I mean, yeah. They get a good defense. Use it.
We're going lower. Jay is going lower, and he's going way lower. He's actually going to go under or lower than 2,000 passing yards. AQ, higher or lower?
The full number, go lower.
He only played like 8 or 9 games last year and threw for almost 2,300 yards.
Almost.
190 is a low number when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, but then
you also have to add injury in and all that stuff. I mean,
True.
You also have to add in. You got a rookie left tackle, and that's really the only improvement they made on an offensive line that was abysmal last year.
Morgan Moses.
Yeah, and he's pushing 38 years old. You got to hope he stays healthy for the whole season.
I drafted Morgan Moses in 2014.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Gary
Bradbury, they got let go by the Vikings.
Okay,
they're not going to have a very good offensive line. They're not.
Agreed.
So they're not going to drop back and throw it. It's going to be all quick. Josh McDaniels runs all these little choice routes and option routes and all this RPOs. It's lower.
I'm with Colt. Life's too short to bet the lower. I'm going higher with Colt. No questions asked.
Because really, when Josh McDaniels last called plays, their quarterback threw for probably 1,800 yards.
All right. So where do they finish? Just quickly. Where do they finish? Where do they finish in the division?
They finished second in the division. I do. I think they might split with Buffalo potentially, but I think
got New England coming in second just because I like their defense better than Miami's and even better than Jets, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, let me list some of these games off here. At home, they have the Panthers, the Browns, the Dolphins, the Giants, the Jets, the Raiders, the Steelers are in there. Man, and then on the road, they got Saints, Jets, Buccaneers, Titans, Bengals. So there's a realistic world where they could get some of those. They get hot at home. I'm going to go second in the division, the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I like second too, actually.
After hearing who they play, it kind of starts to add up there. All right, New York Jets. The Aaron Rodgers era has come to a ugly end in New York City. Aaron Glenn said, fly all the way across the country. Okay, get out of my office. You're not the quarterback anymore. The Jets have struggled mightily to find any success in recent seasons. What are we looking for from the Jets this year, Jay Gruden?
Well, obviously it's all dependent on the quarterback again. Every team, we can start with the quarterback. Justin Fields, is he ready to make that jump into a starting quarterback that can really make a name for himself? It didn't work out at Chicago. He was 4-2 at Pittsburgh. It was like, wow, he should have never been benched. He really didn't play that well. They were 4-2. He's okay. He's not a great passer. Obviously, he's very athletic. Can they design a system to really use his legs and get the running back going? And I think drafting Membu will be a big factor in that because they'll be able to run the ball, get Breece Hall going again. I mean, please get him going again. Get Justin Fields out of quarterback design. Their success has to be kind of like how we talked about Buffalo's success, being powerful at the point of attack, running the football, utilize their two backs, utilize their quarterback's legs, and then eventually get the ball to the Garrett Wilson on some deep throws down the field.
All right. Well, then that leads us to Justin Fields. Cole, what do you need to see from Justin Fields this year to solidify him? This is his last chance to be a starter in the NFL. What do you need to see a solidified Justin Fields?
I mean, listen, you kind of know what Justin Fields is. You just do. He's maybe one of the best athletes inside the white lines every time he's out there playing football, right? He can run. He's strong. They're going to have to run the football and have a lot of RPO / quarterback design runs built into this system, right? Garrett Wilson's going to get open. I think Justin Fields can get him the football, but can he do it consistently? That's ultimately going to be what the success of the New York Jets offense comes down to is Justin Fields' ability to throw the football, right? This defense, the defenses he's going to see in this division from the Patriots and from the Bills are going to give him fits. They just are, because they're going to take away what he's really good at, which is running the football, and make him stand in the pocket and beat you on third downs and not let him get outside and contain him in the pocket. I don't know that that's his game. He hasn't been able to do that anywhere. Can he do it here? Maybe. I hope he does. But I think that's the reality the Jets are facing. They got a top 10 receiver in Garrett Wilson, wins his matchups consistently, dynamic playmaker. Outside of that, and what we know about Justin Fields so far, I think they have their work cut out for him from an offensive standpoint.
All right. Well, they have a whole new coaching staff, so they're. I don't want to say the C word here, Jay. They're also trying to establish a new culture, maybe a new identity. Can I say identity, Jay?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want, Justin. You got a microphone in front of you. But I'm just going to tell you this. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams.
I was going to ask AQ this question.
Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, they couldn't get it done last year. So they say, you know what? Let's get this Tanner Eggstrand at offensive coordinator, and we're going to add Justin Fields, and maybe we'll add Josh Reynolds at wide receiver instead of Devontae Adams. Let's go get Mbu, and let's go get Justin, and that's how we're going to get better. Oh, and I'll tell you what. I'll throw in Arian Smith, the receiver from Georgia, runs a 4.3 40 but can't catch. That's how they got better. Now, how in the hell is this team going to compete?
They're not. I do think Aaron Glenn is a great coach, and they're going to have a solid defense. The defense is the strength of their team, and they're going to be.
Aaron Glenn was about to get fired.
They gave up 1,000 yards against the Commanders in the playoff game. 1,000. Josh,
everyone on the Detroit Lions defense. Name anybody who started for that defense late in that year.
That doesn't matter.
Carlton Davis.
Yeah.
He didn't start. I think he was hurt too.
He was hurt. Yeah.
He got hurt too. So, AQ, you have I'm not saying you have no faith in this coaching staff, but you just don't think year one Aaron Glenn's going to be able to turn around and really establish much of an identity.
It has nothing to do with the coaching staff. It's what's the age old saying? It's not about the X's and the O's. It's the Jimmys and the Joes, right? And they don't have the Jimmys and the Joes. They don't. Justin Fields wanted. I mean, he was 4-2 because of T.J. Watt and the rest of that Steelers defense.
Highsmith,
I mean, there's Highsmith, right? Like they were not that good, and they ran the ball a little bit early in Pittsburgh. But I'm from Pittsburgh. I hear the noise. They couldn't wait to get his ass benched. They needed somebody to throw the ball further than 5 yards on a pass. And they got Russell Wilson to do that, who ended up throwing it 8 yards a pass, like whatever it was, right? And like they couldn't wait to get him out of town. So listen, Justin Fields is not the answer. His first option is to run the football. And when your first option is to run the football and you're not Kyler Murray, you're not a great quarterback, and to pay him $30 million, you've hampered the rest of the team. They go get Mbu. Again, people don't talk about this enough. Okay, cool. You're a first round, top 10 pick offensive tackle. Guess who you get to see every week? The best pass rushers in the world. Like, do we think Membu's going to come in and just dominate? No. They got Fashanu on the other side, who struggled a lot last year. And all of a sudden now he's going to become an all-pro left tackle on the other side? Nope. They got a left guard who's been injured every year in Vera Tucker. They got Tippmann, who's an average center, right? Like, they're not a good football team. They don't have a ton of talent, and the coaching staff isn't great. Like, they're the bottom dwellers of the AFC East. I don't know what to tell you.
All right, so we don't have a pick 'em for these guys this year, but I think
lower every offensive category. Garrett Wilson, lower. Justin Fields, lower. Breece Hall, lower. The win total, lower. Whatever you guys want, play lower.
Well, Jay, you already picked the Dolphins to finish last in the AFC East.
I changed my mind. I'm looking at the Jets. Jets are last. Dolphins at least have some speed. Although if they do lose Jalen, golly, yeah, I'm going this guy. This team's last. This team's horrible.
All right, I'll go Jets third. I'm taking Jets third. I think Breece Hall, they just get up there and run the ball, let Mbu do his thing.
Oh, yeah,
and you run the ball, some bad weather. Yeah. They're going to win some games. I'm saying they might win 5 or 6. I'm not saying they're going to win all of them. I think the Dolphins.
Mason Taylor, the rookie tight end from LSU, and him and Mbu are just going to annihilate people. Give me a break. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
No, I think we're splitting hairs here. I think it's like a 4-win team versus a 5-win team. We're trying to find the bottom 2. It's probably more fun than figuring out the top 2 because the Bills have that one. The Jets are going to win how many games next year?
2.
3 to 4.
I mean, if you're this new coordinator from Detroit, you say, okay, I'm going to run this playbook that I learned from Ben Johnson. Ooh, yeah, I can't wait. Then you look at, you don't have Jared Goff now. You got Justin Fields. All right?
Tyrod
you don't
Taylor.
have Amon St. Brown. You don't have
Hold on.
Gibbs
Garrett Wilson.
Jameer Gibbs. Oh, come on. You don't have Jameer Gibbs. You don't have Montgomery. You don't have Penny Sewell. I mean, you don't have these guys. Laporta. This team is Detroit Lions B team, except for maybe Garrett Wilson.
Okay, so there's not one player on the Jets that would start for the Lions, you don't think?
Garrett Wilson.
Quinn Williams. Okay, on offense.
I'm talking about an offense.
Okay.
Tell me what.
Garrett Wilson. That's it.
That is actually an insane. All right, is there anyone else that we're missing at home? The one thing I forgot to tell you, everybody at home, stop what you're doing right now. Drop in the comments who you think would start from the Jets offense on the Detroit Lions. This one I have to see. Is there anyone else besides Garrett Wilson out there?
Well, it's and the good news is for you Jet fans, it's not just the Lion offense. We can go across the league. It's probably about 16 other teams that not one of these guys would start for. So.
The good news for you.
The good news for you. Subscribe, like, do all those things that you do best. So we're pretty dead set. It's the Bills, Patriots, and then these two fighting for the cellar, correct?
Yeah, that'll be a battle. I mean, I'll tell you, this is a battle. This is going to be a battle to the wire. Which team's coming last? I'm telling you what, this is going to be a knockdown drink. It's kind of like that gorilla match, the 100 guys against the gorilla. This is going to be a battle.
All right, hold on. We have to finish that one. I know we're going a little bit over time. Who wins that fight?
I'll tell you what. It's very simple. You bring out the three stooges first, Mo, Larry, and Curly, and you get him. Then you get his eye poked out. Once his eyes get poked out, then you bring in John Cena to tackle him, right? And then you get the sumo wrestlers to jump on top of him.
Why is John Cena our tackler? Why don't you get like an actual
wrestler?
Tackler?
He's a pro wrestler, for God's sake.
He's a fake pro wrestler. He's not even a real pro wrestler.
Then he gets on the ground. Then you get the sumo wrestlers to jump on top of him. The stooges are out of there. Cena gets out of there. The sumo wrestlers take over. Then I bring some karate guys to kick him in the head a couple times. Knocked out.
Okay, does anyone think the gorilla can win this battle?
Yes.
Eye poke.
Have you seen these gorillas? Can you
gorillas
get
are
into
very
the
nice.
eyes?
So they get them playing around with the three stooges, then the eye poke, and then all hell breaks loose. I mean, I'm telling you, we can get it done.
Jay, why are you saying we? You're not part of the 100 people we'd send out.
I'm the coach. I'm working on my culture here. I can get it done. I'm telling you what. Give me Mo, Larry, and Curly to start it out.
Which player that you coach would you send out there? Like, who's your assassin? If you have one player that you coach throughout your career.
If I'm rooting for the gorilla, there's about 5 or 6 players I'd send out there.
No. I don't want to hear sacrificial lambs. I want to hear who's going to win this fight for you.
Oh, God. Trent Williams would be my gorilla killer. I would not bet against Trent Williams against anything.
But you save him. You save him to the last. Once the gorilla's really beat up, then Trent goes out there.
I might just send out Trent one-on-one against a gorilla. Trent's a bad man now. I mean,
he'll get his eyes.
All right. Does anyone think the gorilla's got a chance?
Yeah. Gorilla wins every time.
All day.
Maybe 100 guys do take him down, but how'd you like to be the 38 to get their head ripped off? They're like, hey, we beat the gorilla. And the guys with the head ripped off are like, hey, no, we really didn't. I got my head ripped off. Right? That would kind of suck to be one of those.
It's all
guys.
Hypothetical, but I think we should figure out a way to see if this could work. There's got to be 100 guys that are willing to sign off on a waiver to make this happen.
Got to get Mo, Larry, Curly.
All right, well, that's a wrap on the AFC East and all gorilla talk, 100 men versus one gorilla. If you guys like what we did with the AFC East, stay tuned because we are jumping into the AFC North very shortly. Stay tuned for that one. See you next time.
Spice up your sports viewing experience with the Underdog app. Underdog is the best place to play. Pick 'em on all of your favorite sports. Just choose higher or lower on your favorite players' stats, and you can join the millions of fans who have won billions of dollars on Underdog. What are you waiting for? Sign up now using promo code POCKET. That's POCKET, and you can get up to $1,000 in bonus credits. Download the Underdog app or visit UnderdogFantasy.com to get started today.